Welcome to the Wolf and Bull podcast. I'm the wolf. Across from me is the bull. And in the corner is Beowulf. She's got her own Irish jig music, because that's the only theme music I could find. This is the 55th episode of the Wolf and Bull podcast. And we're here to talk about some incredible things today. If you like what you hear, go ahead and give us a follow on Instagram, on YouTube, and you can probably find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and of course, all other major listening platforms. Okay, that's enough.
That was so chaotic.
I kind of liked it, though.
I liked it, too. You really have to set
It's
the
like
mood right.
It moved the energy from right here
Yeah.
to right here.
Now, the glasses are
Here.
nice, but I'm going to take mine off because I got to be able to really look.
Focus
A
in.
woman of mystery.
Yes, no
green
longer.
eyes, and Irish potato famine royalty.
I do
Here
love
to talk.
potatoes.
With us on the Wolf and Bull. I can
Yes.
make that joke because I'm from Ireland.
Potatoes, broil them, boil them,
Is it
stick them in
A
stew.
potato princess or a potato princess?
Potato. It's potato. Don't get it wrong.
Welcome.
Episode 55.
55, yes,
Oh
55.
my gosh, those are two prime numbers.
And you know
together.
what we're talking about today? We're talking about Disney again.
Oh my,
Again.
hey,
You know what's funny?
my favorite place.
The first time we talked about Disney was episode 22.
And you guys were just coming off of
And you know
your
what?
COVID bouts.
22. You know
no.
how to get to 55 from
before
22?
Disney.
What you have to add to it? 33. Oh yeah.
a hint
Wow.
of what's to come.
Wow. We are experts here on the Wolf and
Yes.
Bull
I'm leaving
podcast.
my glasses.
I'm
on.
actually here to defend Disney as a high-profile lawyer on
Defend?
retainer
Why?
for the company.
Why would you want to defend them? There's nothing.
They pay me
wrong with them?
bi-weekly $10 million for retainer.
Mm-hmm.
They just
I'm
give
here
her
to defend their
free
honor.
seasonal tickets is what she gets out of this.
Yes, against any sort of
Negative press.
negative
Yeah.
press. Yes, any
Well, there is no
difficult
negativity. This is the most wonderful place on earth.
situations.
No, it's not. I disagree.
Disney has been an integral part of our family
Mm-hmm.
since it began.
Well, Satan has been an integral part of the world since it began. What's your point? Anyways, I think we're going to jump right into the episode monologue. I think I need some mood music. Disney, the happiest place on earth. If you ignore the U.S. geographical locations. Lauded by children and child adults everywhere. As the greatest theme park of all time, there are rides, people dressed in oversized character suits, bright lights, colors, and incredibly overpriced food and toys. As Walt once said, if you can dream it, you can do it. And gosh darn it, Disney sure has done a lot of dreaming. So much so that they have over 200 companies under their Disney umbrella. Half of the entertainment industry and the news industry. It's only a monopoly if the big guy doesn't get 10%. Am I right? I grew up with Disney. I remember the cartoons fondly, with my favorite being Hercules, maybe Aladdin, and Toy Story. My brother and I would watch Disney movies frequently, and I can likely recite the entire Peter Pan to a Return to Neverland script. If it were to be playing in the background, I could probably recite the entire thing. Because my brother had an uncontrollable addiction to narcissistic flying fairies and a small boy who also was in a world called Neverland. Tinkerbell, by the way, on a side note, almost died because she didn't get enough attention. Food for thought.
I do believe in fairies.
Exactly.
I do.
Now, I have fond memories of what Disney used to be prior to the company's decision to control the world, and I think one of the most interesting topics to discuss in tandem is catastrophe. I know it's from left field, but I think it makes sense. We do it every day, and we simply cannot control ourselves. First, it was 2000, when the clocks across the world would reset unanimously, stopping time itself. Then it was day after tomorrow, and 2012, when the oceans would rise to unprecedented exposition levels unanimously, as if in agreement, flooding the entire world, except where the main characters, including us, were at, effectively ridding the world of all non-believers when it comes to climate
So
change.
this is like a biblical thing.
Now the latest catastrophe is the Buzz Lightyear reboot. The one with Chris Evans LARPing as Tim Allen. That flopped at the box office. I'll probably throw in the newest Thor in there as well. Seems copy and paste nostalgia is starting to fade in entertainment. Anyway, as I left the movie theaters this last weekend, sorely disappointed in the newest Thor movie, I got to thinking about catastrophes, specifically weird events that no one discusses, which got me thinking about Disney. So for this episode, we are going to prod the mouse and discuss some catastrophes that have occurred at Disney.
Wow. Sounds dark.
Better watch it. If you prod the mouse, you may get some talons back at you.
Well, I know the Antichrist Mickey Mouse made an appearance in the 22nd episode of The Wolf and Bull.
Objection. Leading.
I can hear all
No
this.
such thing as leading. Except unless I lead children down to the dark depths of the Disney castle.
Oh my God.
Didn't you know Small World is just all the children nailed with their feet to the ground singing?
The real children.
Forever.
Yeah. Oh my God.
My world after all. Yeah, I know.
Guys, I went to, first time I was at Disney was in 1984. 1984.
Ancient Bull.
Well, the year. Oh yeah.
This isn't exactly
It's not,
80s,
it's not,
but
it's not 84. No, it's not.
It's,
Yeah.
it's okay.
I had
Came
another
close
whole
to-
thing.
I came close to OG in that year.
Yeah.
You know
Wow.
what that is, right? Yeah.
Orange.
No, over gold.
Orange juice with
Over
a G.
gold. You don't remember that was a great movie.
That
years
that
and years
is
ago.
not what that term refers to, like
doesn't?
in the 90s and original gangster.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
I
you're the
had
OG.
no idea.
Yeah, it's okay. It's
Or
all
if
right.
you're in South America, opiate.
Your
God.
first
But,
time you went to Disney was in 1984. You
Well,
get a pass.
during the LA Olympics.
Oh,
You know, I had to take time away from my long jumping at the time.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
I didn't quite make the finals of the 100,
Makes
so
sense.
I went to Disney instead.
you went to the Los Angeles Olympics, or you just were in town?
Can I make up a story
Oh,
about it? No,
sure,
I didn't.
lie.
No, I actually, we were seated real near some Olympians from the GDR, as a matter of fact. German Democratic Republic, for those of you that don't remember, before the Berlin Wall fell.
I wasn't alive at this.
It was called the
time.
GDR.
Yeah,
Was it
German
really?
Democratic
I had no
Republic.
idea.
I didn't know that either.
Anyways, and I always remember it because there was these big guys sitting next to me in Space Mountain, and then I looked at them closer, and they weren't big guys. Yes, exactly. They were the women's volleyball team or something like that.
Oh, they were big guys
They
according
really were.
to 2022.
No, back in the day, there was a lot going on with doping and things like that.
Yeah,
And
sure.
So anyway,
There always-
bottom line,
there
in
always has been.
1984, first time at Disney, and it was the first. I flew from Michigan to see my uncle and aunt who lived out here, and my mom came with me. First time I was ever on a plane, as a matter of fact. I don't know if I ever even told you the story.
No.
There's a lot of stories involved with that week that I was out here, which was awesome. But Disney did not qualify as the awesome part because my mom and my aunt wanted to go. I was 19, for God's sakes, and they wanted to
You went
go.
with your
Gonna go
mommy?
with my
I
mom.
went with my mommy on a plane to Disney.
My mommy and I went to Disneyland. I'm a 19-year-old man.
And guess what? The first thing they wanted to ride.
It's a small world.
Exactly.
Really? That was
And I
your
went-
first Disney ride experience? Was Small World?
That thing was in my brain for like a month after.
That's quite the first experience. Oh, wow.
Yeah, but then we went to Space Mountain.
Okay.
I never left that area the rest of the time.
Tomorrowland guy, huh?
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I mean, once you've done Space Mountain, hey, of course, Thunder Mountain's always broken.
It really is.
Thunder
I've
Every
only
damn time.
ridden that once.
It's because the Yeti gets loose in there.
No,
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 that's
yeah.
not Thunder Mountain. That's
You're thinking of
yeah.
the Matterhorn.
That's
Matterhorn.
Matterhorn.
That's the one I meant.
Yeah.
Matterhorn.
Come on, look, I'm going to fact check you so hard during this episode. I know all the things.
Okay, Amber Heard's lawyer.
It's actually not a Yeti. It's the Abominable Snowman.
What's your favorite ride of all times there? Because I know mine. I can tell you right now.
At Disneyland?
It's not Space Mountain either.
At Disneyland.
Yes.
Favorite ride?
the ticket line.
No. I think my favorite ride, it's probably
right.
your favorite ride too, is Pirates of the
You
Caribbean.
nailed it.
Yeah, I love
Nailed
that
it.
ride.
There's something
so
about floating along there.
Oh, the
and you
nostalgia
just-
too. Like I'm
it's
thinking
just-
about it right now, and it's like a happy place.
It is very happy.
I like
place.
Haunted
Yes.
Mansion.
You know
That's a
that
good
was
one.
that was Justin's favorite place.
mansion.
Yeah, the Haunted Mansion's fun. Yeah. Something about Pirates. Number one, there's like a very specific smell. I know there is a company.
It's called
probably
urine.
a couple.
It's called
No.
young child
No,
urine.
it's not
is
a.
what
It's not a
called.
not
Urine.
Soak City
It's
water
mouse
park.
piss. It's mouse piss.
No, it's like
That's
just
what it is,
chlorine.
mouse
But there are people who make
piss.
candles.
It's not chlorine.
There's candles that actually are supposed to smell. I've never actually smelled one, but they smell exactly like Pirates of the
There are
Caribbean.
candles made out of everything, if you know what I mean.
I'm sure.
All right.
Gwyneth Paltrow,
Here we
right?
go. Yeah, welcome to the 27,000th episode of InfoWars. This is Alex Jones. I'm here to talk about whether the candles made from Disneyland's, I think it's called Pirates. Is that what it's called?
They're made
Whether
from
they're
the
made from
crushed
children's.
souls of
Are they made
children.
from urine? Are they made from chlorine? Is it from the water? No one knows.
No one's getting in the
That's
water.
the last time I'm making that joke.
Oh,
You're gonna
okay.
get rid of that.
No, it's not.
It's
I
every
love,
episode.
I love that.
So
It's
you and I are in
recurring.
agreement that Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates is awesome.
And you like Haunted Mansion, which is another good choice.
The Pirates ties Haunted Mansion for me.
But here's the thing about the reason I bring all this up, not because of 1984, all that kind of stuff, but the place is just so full of history and nostalgia for those that have been there before, or for those from other countries, specifically or other states. That who didn't watch Vacation growing up?
People
or the new
who-
version of
well,
Vacation. They got to go to Wally World. Got to go to Wally.
Well,
World.
people who lived in really, like not America, I would say. A lot of people didn't. I've never seen Vacation.
Yeah, I've never seen it either.
I'm talking.
Sorry. You did go to Disneyland in 1984. No, Wally World, I guess, is sort of the
84,
euphemism
84,
to Disney
84,
World
82.
then in the
My
movie.
my whole point is that it is a destination for people. But
Mm.
think about what this guy did. I mean, you can say what you want. You're going to go down a trail. I know how dark and dangerous this trail can be.
We've talked about this.
Because he was also part of
We
the
know what he
the youth version of the Freemasons, and there's a lot of other shit going on with this guy. And he was
Episode 22.
anti-Semite, and he was. There's a lot of things we can talk about.
Weirdo.
But talk about vision. Forget all the other shit. Talk about vision. There were carnivals that were all over the United States all the time, all over the world, bringing elephants, and here's a 3-ring circus and Barnum and
Hey,
Bailey.
don't
and do all
know.
this other stuff.
P.T.
No.
Barnum's just as bad as a
When-
comparison.
That's
though.
not. No, my point is he took something.
Whoops.
Did you lose that?
No.
Uh-oh. Yeah,
He,
she
he,
bounced
he
her.
took something. I hit it with my foot. He took something and turned it into not only an icon for what his vision was at the time. And if you think about it, his vision was where we are headed.
Right.
It was very.
The future destruction of humanity. Antichrist Mickey Mouse here. Yuck.
No. I see what you mean, though.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
He wanted to build cities of the future,
Mm-hmm.
and he wanted to use his power from bringing. What, you don't think so?
He wanted to use power for bringing
Jesus,
all of
don't
us,
we talk about that every single
all
time?
of us together into small
Hey,
Disney.
who doesn't run rule the world
small
for a day or two?
Disney-esque neighborhoods? Not me. Small
Not
Disney-esque
you.
neighborhoods.
You're lying.
I don't
boy.
want. I've
you
never
are lying,
once.
Wolf.
I've never once, ever once, even if Congress brought me in front of them to testify, I've never once, ever thought about winning the dang world. I don't want to control the world.
Does the Congress do anything but make people testify?
The
Do
alien
they do
people
anything
in the
else?
Senate, within Congress, they're trying to frame me. They're trying to make sure that I was actually responsible for the urine chlorine-filled candles that were sold
You know
via
what, though?
Disney World LLC. Walt Disney World LLC. I guess that's the. Well,
You know
Walt
what the
Disney
real
LLC.
problem is Alex is probably the actual lizard.
That
He's
would
got
be a
everybody
twist.
fooled.
Yeah, that would be a twist.
Yeah, that would be a twist. But yes, the early Disneyland, back when it first
84.
opened, was very different. Earlier than that,
Yeah.
very, very different
55.
from when
It was
or from what
very
it is
much
today.
about family.
Yeah, and there's actually, if you look into it, there's some interesting ride adaptations. There was like a whole park area, like I know it's called a park now, but it was
a
an
park within a
actual
park.
like a hill that you could
Yeah.
sit and do picnics on and stuff. It was just a completely different
Back when there were no
thing.
rules,
But it's amazing when you look at that and you look at what Disneyland, or
the monsters
the-
become.
I guess in one way you can call it that, but yes, what it's become, it's quite
monster.
amazing
Yeah.
how much has changed.
Well, I think the best way to tell our listeners about all the things that have changed is to give them a brief history of Disney. And I think the only way that we can do that is by
You
reading
do.
from these notes, because I have not memorized them.
Just like a brief history in time, you're going to do it in Stephen Hawkins.
No, I'm not, because that would be insensitive, and we are very sensitive here on the Wolf and Bull. So in October, the 16th of October, what are you looking? Is something wrong
I'm
sensitivity?
asking you.
Yes,
if
it's still on.
anything
You're
is
still
wrong.
recording,
Okay.
pal.
Just
I'm going to have
making
to cut
sure.
that out. Let's take a note at 17 minutes.
What happened?
I just wanna make sure
making
it's-
sure she's still recording.
Yes.
So yeah, brief history of Disney. October 16th, 1923, Walt Disney and his brother Roy founded the Disney Brothers Cartoon Studio in Hollywood, California. Shortly after, Walt's Laugh-O-Gram studio went bankrupt, by the way. At that time, his brother Roy was recovering from tuberculosis. So he decided to show up in Hollywood and was like, yo, what up, bro? You're almost dead. You could have died, but I'm here
Of
to...
course, he outlasted Walt.
He
big
did,
time.
yeah. So he sold Alice in Wonderland, a short film produced by Laugh-O-Gram, while there, and he signed a contract to make 6 more films. God, 15, 16, Jesus.
Where did you get 15
Aneurysm there
from?
is what happened. He released Steamboat Willie in 1928, which introduced the demon spawn Mickey Mouse. And Walt then began to produce a feature film in 1934 after the success of Mickey, going 400% over budget with 300 total animators, debuting Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in 1937 to wild success.
I hope.
I think it won an Oscar.
It did. Yeah,
Yeah.
it did. Now, Disney evolved into a holding company, which is where everything went downhill, for all manner of media and entertainment properties, beginning in 1955, acquiring dozens of companies in the 1990s and 2000s. Disneyland was founded on July 17th, 1955.
A couple days is the anniversary.
Oh, yeah. Disney World, Magic Kingdom, was founded on October 1st, 1971. Epcot, October 1st, 1982. Hollywood Studios, May 1st, 1989. Animal Kingdom, April 22nd, 1998. Typhoon Lagoon, June 1st, 1989. Blizzard Beach, April 1st, 1995. Tokyo Disneyland was founded on April 15th, 1983.
Tax day.
Yeah, with Disney Sea, the Tokyo aspect of it, or I think a water park in Tokyo, was founded September 4th, 2001. Disneyland Paris founded April 12th, 92. Disneyland California Adventure founded February 8th, 2001. Hong Kong Disneyland September 5th, 2005. Shanghai Disney June 16th, 2016. Disney now owns and operates ABC, ESPN. They're a part owner of Fox, Pixar, Marvel Studios, and Lucasfilm.
Nice.
Congratulations, Disney, for doing a great job.
They
From
own
starting from
everything.
nothing
To becoming an
Laugh-O-Gram
evil
to-
monopoly.
Hey,
which is, you know what? Once you reach the top of the hill, guess what everybody does? The wolves try to bite
Excuse
at
me?
your nails.
Excuse
or
me?
heels.
That's derogatory.
Bull
Yes, it is.
and I were at Disneyland California Adventure on February 8th, 2001. We were there opening day.
Wow.
And the
I
bull-
remember.
The bull was at Epcot Center in 1982, December of
Ooh.
1982, actually.
Wow.
I've got an original
So
like
2 months after it opened.
souvenir coin from then.
Wow.
Very nice.
Yes.
Look at that.
Yes. So again, this Disney thing apparently it seeped into our souls somehow or another.
It's a death cult.
actually,
It's a
guys,
death
I got
cult.
to admit it. I'm sorry. I'm going to go completely against the premise of this podcast. I'm going to be
Oh,
contrary.
Are you joining my
have to be-
defense team?
It's not about defense. It isn't. It's iconic. You've got to be able to separate what something is to you as an individual from what it's becoming or what it can become with some of the individuals you don't like or some of the policies you don't like. It's like, do you love the United States or do you hate some of the policies? Do you love Disney or do you hate some of the policies? Me, I love Disney, but I've been a casualty of Disney as well. Because the last time I was at Disney, I got the big
vid.
The unnamed
Yes.
thing that we're not going to mention. Welcome to the Wolf and Bull. I'm your
big
host, the Wolf, and we're here to talk about the
I'm liking the music.
sadly disparaging fact that my co-host, the Bull, might be brainwashed.
No, the bull
by
is
Disney.
just standing on his hill, majestically
He might
defending his position.
Be a communist.
Okay.
He could possibly be a part of the
I
death
am
cult
not
Let
a
me-
Red
is
Bull.
Disney.
Red Bull. No, I'm not a Red Bull.
To piggyback off what you just said,
Says Amber Heard's lawyer.
Let me ask you a question. Okay. Do you like Harvey Weinstein?
Welcome to the Wolf and Bull. I am your host, the Wolf. Accusations have been thrown wildly at me by the
Are you gonna answer
lawyer
the question?
of Amber Heard,
No,
and I
he's
have decided
Sir?
to come on
he's
to my
apparently
show
pleading the fifth.
to state that I
know
do
he
not
doesn't.
support Harvey Weinstein,
Thank
the
you.
Weinstein brothers, or even anyone with the last name Weinstein, unless they happen to be a professor from a college.
Okay.
With that being said,
What if it's white Weinstein?
was the
compared
bull
to Rosé?
manipulated and bribed
No,
into defending Disney?
Let me finish my thought.
Is Amber Heard's lawyer going to make a career out of attacking me about my position on Disney?
No, listen.
Find out now
Listen. Okay.
by tuning in to episode 55.
So you don't like Harvey Weinstein. We've clarified that. You can just answer yes or no. Do you?
It's a yes or no question,
do
sir.
You like? Do you like the Lord of the Rings movies?
I plead the fifth. I would like my lawyer present.
I know you like them because he quotes them. I know he enjoys
quotes
the
Mickey
Fellowship
Mouse.
of the Ring.
Why
He
do I
enjoys the
quote?
Two Towers.
Why do I quote a specific quote from J.R.R. Tolkien's great masterpieces
He knows
of
I like
writing?
them too, but he knows I like
No,
them. Let
no,
him
there's a
point.
specific one. Why do I quote it?
You
Because it's
shall
important
not pass.
to you and I. I am a
Yes.
perfect individual when it comes to relationals,
Okay,
and that's
we
why.
are going off. Can you let me finish the whole reason I brought this up? No, the whole reason I brought this up
We've
was
determined
no, I'm
with
finished.
our
Let me finish what I'm
investigative reports
Sir,
that Amber
This
Heard's
is
lawyer
misogyny in its
is
greatest form.
This is
manipulating
just
the
like
Let me
system.
Congress.
She's
This is just
manipulating
like
his system,
Congress straight out.
trying to take down the Wolf and Bull franchise. There is nothing that can be done that can dissuade us from the truth that Disney is a death cult. The
My
blood
point-
of the victims will not be forgotten.
my point.
They will not be ignored.
My point is that Harvey Weinstein produced the Lord of the Rings movies. Can you not separate him from those movies?
Oh, that's
you
it.
not
I'm never going to watch
This is
them
the
again.
last time I'll be pushing this button, but I like this music, so I want to listen to it one more time.
Did they create Smog after him?
Did he kill anyone? Amber
Maybe.
Heard's lawyer? Did he? Is there evidence?
Do I look like Rattenborn to you?
Rattenborn is her name? Dear Jesus.
No,
Really?
No, oh no, that's different.
Rattenborn?
No,
Where did
that
you get
one of,
Rattenborn from?
One of her lawyers.
Is that
was,
the mouse
his
from
last name was
Ratatouille?
Rattenborn.
Really? Rattenborn was his. What an unfortunate last name.
Okay, that was tragic, and I feel
yeah.
sorry for anyone
kidding.
listening to that because that was probably horrible.
I'm going to change my
Well,
name
no.
to Harry Richard Face, and I'm going to become a lawyer. It's going to be really, really effective marketing campaign.
My whole point of bringing
Everybody will just
any
say,
of that.
here's that. Here he comes again. That
Let's continue talking over Beowulf just to see how long it will take for her
Beowulf
to light
will-
herself on fire.
she will
and then-
light us on fire.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like shoot fire out of her
The
hands.
only reason I brought that up was to piggyback off what you were saying, and where sometimes you may not like something for your own specific reasons, for things they do, or as a company, or as a
I
producer, or whatever. However, if you enjoy something that is produced, you can separate it from that. Especially since you enjoyed Peter Pan 2 so much. Can you not enjoy that
Okay,
came out when you were a
we
kid?
We gotta go here
to
though.
the
We gotta
Wolf
go
and
there.
Bone podcast.
What was the name of the chicken song? Was the chicken song?
Oh, yeah.
Rooster.
There was a
Is that
rooster. Walk
love that
into
song.
my yard.
Okay.
And
Here comes the rooster. I can't remember. There's a
We should
actual
probably
song.
we should probably get into the topic.
We are into it.
We
Here's
are
the
into the
problem.
topic, yeah.
We're going to get into this and demonize
Disney.
what is a fantastic company.
No,
Yes.
no.
Yes.
They are
The
a company
companies
that
can-
has done fantastic things, to your point, but they are evil at their core.
See, I
and
would
here's
go
why.
the opposite way.
They're a fantastic company that's
That-
done
no.
evil things.
Exactly.
That's
Come on now.
That's the
Do you-
same.
would you ever call your would you call your child
Would you call
a-
Harvey Weinstein a
bad
fantastic
child, or would
person?
you say, child, you did some bad things?
Would you call Harvey Weinstein a
Here's-
fantastic
this-
person who's done
Wolf,
terrible
Wolf,
things?
Wolf. This is about rehabilitation. Rehabilitation.
Uh-huh.
That's what this is about. Rehabilitation.
Uh-huh.
We are here to put Disney on notice that it's time to rehabilitate
Uh-huh.
and come back to its roots.
Uh-huh.
You are not an evil company. You are good through and through.
Uh-huh.
There's white, diamond-like
Yeah,
light coming out of your soul.
right.
Bring it back to that, Disney. Bring it back. That's all I can say.
Why do I feel like this? It should have been a Scottish theme. We should have said you're from Scotland. It makes way more sense.
Oh, that's super.
What's his name from the Mel Gibson?
Braveheart.
Just call you Braveheart.
Yeah. As they're tearing his entrails off, he's screaming about freedom.
I can feel my lunch being taken from me. Yeah. So incidents that have happened at Disney World, there are many of them. I've done my research. I am well versed, and you guys know my argument. Prove me wrong.
I know your argument's wrong.
You know my argument.
It's okay
You
to be
have the
wrong.
data on my argument.
I'll just put it out there right now, Wolf. It's
Yep,
okay
well,
that you're
it's,
wrong.
I've
I've come to deal with that.
Well, you know what? I'm the one that actually has a sound that sounds like me, and you have a deer. So I win.
That's an elk.
That's a deer.
It's a bull elk.
It's a deer.
It's a bull
deer.
moose.
This is a deer.
Well,
So
okay, Mr.
I
Techno
couldn't
in
find a
charge
bull sound that
on the entire internet.
No,
There's no bull. Do
that
you know
had-
why?
because
I'm
they don't
unique.
make sounds.
I'm unique.
They don't make sounds.
We
They're
stand majestically off in the distance.
notoriously silent.
We will sometimes snort.
That's why the murder
Sometimes
levels
paw at the ground.
associated with bulls are much higher than all other animals because you'll never hear them coming. So just for our listeners, incidents refers to injuries, deaths, loss, or significant crimes. I did not include significant crimes because a lot of them were really creepy in a inappropriate manner towards children. So for additional context, according to a 1985 Time magazine article, which is no longer relevant because it's a longer, 12 years for reference points, but it was worth noting anyway. Nearly 100 lawsuits are annually filed against Disney for various incidents annually, I guess it says per year. I have to imagine it's much higher today. They've probably doubled or maybe tripled that. At least. Now, here are some incidents that occurred at Disney. This has been taken from disney.fandom.com, so it's from the most legitimate source of all time. Let it be known that anyone who passed, our condolences go out to the friends and families. This is more observational of catastrophes at Disney, and for respect to any victims, I have omitted names.
That is very wise and kind of
Yes,
you.
it is.
Yeah, well, I believe in freedom. I believe in patriotism. I believe in loving thy countrymen, whether they're from Ireland, like I am, or from the States, like I also am. I think that it's best to treat each other with respect, even if you did represent a terrible actress against Johnny Depp.
Is that me? I'm supposed to be the lawyer.
I think I think he's demonizing Mickey and Amber Heard's lawyer.
Yeah, well, she didn't win.
Is there any evidence that you aren't? Who is Ratcroft?
My social security number.
Who's Ratcroft? I don't know who that was until you brought it up. Maybe you're
Rattenborn.
Maybe you're Rattenborn. No one knows. So yeah, a few different events have occurred. Let's just start with the Animal Kingdom because it starts with an A.
Hey, we were just there a year ago.
We were there.
Yeah.
Now
I was walking along under a tree there,
it was so hot.
and the frickin' snake fell out of a tree right on me. I couldn't believe it.
Did it tell you to eat from the tree of knowledge?
Ha! I'm a snake. Trust me. This fruit will give you everlasting knowledge.
Now you can never leave.
That's right.
Join the depths of Disney.
I'm not sure the conflagration of voices
We
that
were
was.
actually there last July, and it was hot
Actually,
and pouring
right, like
rain.
now, I
Yeah, I think
it
it was
was.
like almost exactly a year ago.
I have never ever felt like I was perpetually in a bath at any other time in my life. Well, actually, that's probably not true. I don't remember this time, but I also was in the womb, so that's probably when it felt like it. But yeah, so on January 28th, 2016, an Orlando area attorney announced that he had been retained by a family involved in a biting incident at the park. And no, I'm not referring to someone biting your style. I'm referring to, and by according to this attorney in 2014, a snake that fell out of a tree onto a group of guests in a public area of the park. Dare I say,
Oh my God, it's
evidence of
raining snakes.
Satanism? I think so.
Many facets and corners of the internet would very much
All
believe
of them would agree with me. Now, it bit an 8-year-old boy. And you know what's interesting about snakes
What didn't
and
fling
the
them off?
number 8?
What?
They rhyme.
Snake
Snake
and 8
eights.
do
Yes,
not
they do.
rhyme.
Yes, they do. Ask Eminem. He can rhyme orange
Anything.
with door hinge. All right. The attorney claimed that it had escaped the park's facilities, but Disney officials, in all of their immaculate demonic gloriness, while acknowledging the biting incident, stated that it was not part of their collection and was wild.
Well, you do realize that the
Tree snake?
tree snake with figure 8 is actually the snake eating its own tail, which is very famous.
Demonic.
That's right. Also part of the armed forces.
We'll let it be known that it was further stated that the snake was non-venomous. And then a park nurse treated the bite with that adhesive bandage.
Like a 50-pound
boa
constrictor.
It fell out of the tree and wrapped itself around somebody's
neck. The boy,
neck
when he got bit, the grandmother of that boy passed away from cardiac arrest. And by the way, on a side note, jokes aside, that is a common theme, interestingly enough, amongst these parks. Something to do with cardiac problems is very common.
These are thrill parks.
Theme parks.
Also in the sweatiest part of Florida.
What, do people die from heart attacks all the time in Florida? Show me the evidence. I just
mean, if I am a young, healthy person who's struggling to walk in a straight line after a couple hours at Disney World, I imagine Grandma's not doing too well either.
We've all seen.
I think
some
maybe
of the
you need to
families
check
there.
yourself when you're drinking. You're a lawyer. Behave yourself. Expedition Everest.
I have no idea.
On December 18th, 2007, a 44-year-old man.
You were in Everest?
From Navarre. I probably pronounced that wrong. Florida. He lost consciousness while riding the coaster.
Well, Everest is pretty high. It's up, 20,000 feet or so.
It was Disney's choice to put a roller coaster up there. Why? I don't know. But it seems pretty demonic.
Expedition Everest, let me clarify, is a roller coaster at Animal Kingdom that is not 20,000 feet in the sky.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the mountain.
According to you. Okay. He was given CPR at the station and was pronounced dead at a local hospital. An autopsy by the Orange County Medical Examiner's Office concluded that he died of a dilated cardiomyopathy and that his death was considered natural. Most people naturally die on roller coasters.
Code for your heart exploding.
That makes sense.
I
naturally, hopefully,
have you
if
seen
I pass,
people scream on these things?
Roller coasters
all the time.
are
unnatural.
Literally, you put yourself.
Unnatural.
You strap yourself onto an object that gets
on,
thrown around.
Just strap yourself onto an object that gets thrown around.
That can lead
strap
to
yourself
certain
in.
things.
Yep.
There are lots of signs that say these are the risks if you have motion sickness, if you're pregnant, if you get headaches or migraines.
That's the way they get away. That's the way you Disney lawyers
That's right.
get away with
I told
everything.
You, I'm here.
Throw a sign up there.
Retainer.
It's like going to a beach where there's like sharks swimming around and says swim at your own risk. Not a big sign that says, by the way, if you look closely, you'll see those fins in the water.
Mm-hmm.
But are the sharks constructing roller coasters at 22,000 feet plus in the air? No, they're not. They're swimming in the water.
22,000 feet in the air?
Expedition Everest.
Listen,
as you said.
22,000
on a roller
plus.
coaster.
I said 22,000 plus.
There's always a chance on a roller coaster that your brain will decide, just as when you're walking down the street or sleeping or breathing, there's a chance. There's maybe a small chance that anytime you're alive, you might die.
Damn it.
A very small chance a lot of the times.
Well, a lot of people would disagree with me and you at the same time. So both of us. So we're both wrong. But
I think you'd be a good Disney lawyer.
Primeval
I think so too. I think
Whirl.
I'm kind of born for it.
Primeval Whirl. Another ride that I've never ridden and probably never will again.
Primeval Whirl.
On November 27th, 2007, a 63-year-old employee died from a brain injury suffered 4 days earlier when she was hit by a ride vehicle after falling from a restricted area of the station. On May 23rd, 2008, OSHA fined Walt Disney World USD $25,000 and charged the company with 5 safety violations. The fines were $15,000 for 3 serious violations, $7,500 for a still missing handrail that had been previously reported, and $3,000 for not responding to OSHA's requests within the requested time period. I find it a tad suspect that they were only fined $25,000.
Have you ever been to Disney?
Mm-hmm.
You act like you've never been there.
I know.
Well, if I'm disappointed. That place is one of the cleanest, best maintained.
Yeah, for real.
That doesn't listen to OSHA violations.
They're not gonna. Oh, they listen to most of them. Trust me. A little too much. Sometimes I'm like, geez, can I walk down the street of the Disneyland without a handrail? Or
example 3
popcorn kernels when you drop them.
Third example of people who have passed away at this park. in this
How many
one
people go through these
particular
parks?
area does not matter. We don't take into consideration these days metrics of data
Okay.
at all. So
That is
my
true
argument
when we talking
is
about
validated.
what I contracted there. I'm
Listen.
actually a statistic from this place.
You are.
I am.
You are. I feel very sorry for the 63-year-old
music.
employee, and they did deserve to get fined.
25
They are on top of it as far as I'm concerned. Every time I'm there,
dollars.
do you not remember we went to California Adventure the first day they opened up during
small
COVID-19.
ones.
Stop talking over me.
Don't you remember how
Wolf.
rapidly they wiped up that body that went splat when we were there?
No, I'm not gonna do it. I wanted to push the news one so bad, but I'm not gonna.
On the first day we were there, that our first day after the COVID-19 shutdowns, we were there, California Adventure, and they were posting people every 5 freaking feet that you had to wear your mask walking outside in 100-degree weather in 2021.
And can I ask a question?
Was.
Is that comparable to a missing handrail that was previously reported that caused
A missing
the death,
They
freaking
must have
handrail.
learned.
death of an employee?
Dude,
it is
you go
not
down
the
to
same.
you go down to
They
another
must have
country, they
learned
don't even know
somewhat
what,
of a lesson.
Well,
they
we're
don't
not
know what
talking.
handrails are in most countries.
Okay, well, we're not talking about most countries. We're talking about Orlando, Florida. And even though it might seem like a different country because it's that different from the rest of
You know
America,
what I think, Bale?
it does
You know
not
what I think?
mean that
I
other
think I've
countries
discovered
don't
something.
know what handrails are.
There's a hidden agenda going on over here on the other side of the room. The wolf has a hidden agenda. We've got to dig into this and find out what it is.
Do I have a hidden agenda?
Yes, he
That's
seems,
for you to decide.
You know what Shakespeare would say?
Shakespeare didn't
I think
exist.
he doth protest too much.
Shakespeare maybe didn't exist.
Or Francis Bacon.
I think that he has a vendetta. He's here to.
I think these are unfounded accusations.
Yeah. Well, they've been tossed into the arena.
Well,
And you know what vendetta starts with.
V.
And
Well,
you know what that is in Roman numerals, right?
5.
and 1 plus
and you got
5
two of those together, and you
is
know what
6.
episode.
And you
this
know
is,
what
right?
number?
55.
You know
and
what?
you know what episode we talked about last time? Disney, 22.
Yeah,
And you know what the difference between those two is?
a lot.
33. There we are, right back to the top of the Freemasonry.
Dare I say evidence of Satanism. And you know what else happened
What?
on March 15th, 2007? Another man from Pulaski, Mississippi, collapsed near the downhill Double Dipper. I don't know where that is.
Blizzard Beach?
Oh, Blizzard Beach. He was taken to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead. Initial reports say that he died of a heart attack. Oh, what do you say? Evidence number 3 of heart issues at a theme park, not a thrill park. Those don't exist.
I mean,
Definitely they don't.
Blizzard Beach is a water park.
His family says that he had a pre-existing heart condition, but they're probably, well, they were probably correct.
Are they Disney plants?
They are Disney. They're paid actors.
They're all shills for Disney.
Yeah, so
apparently we're shills for Disney.
in the first 4 incidences, 3 of them, I think, let me check to make sure that I'm correct for our listeners. Heart attack, heart issue, falling due to Disney's irresponsibility, and heart issue. Yeah, 3 out of 4 heart issues. Hollywood Studios. We've done the Animal Kingdom. Now we're going to Hollywood Studios. The Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular.
Is it still called Hollywood Studios?
I don't know.
I think.
Do you want to know why I don't
maybe
know?
it's MGM Studio.
Do you want to know why I don't know? Because I'm not a paid shill from Disney.
Oh, and I am.
You are their
I
lawyer.
Indiana
told you.
Jones thing's great.
The Stunt Spectacular. Have you
Yeah.
ever seen it?
Yeah.
I
I've
saw
never
the
seen
original
it.
one in Orlando.
Well,
Yes.
I've never seen it ever.
That's-
Don't even know that it was in
Yeah,
existence.
that's when Harrison Ford came out and did it for the first time.
Of course he did. Yeah. Well, a number of incidents involving the show's performers have occurred since its premiere in
Nobody believes me
1989.
anymore, Bale.
Well, that's what happens when you
Oh,
cry.
watch it.
That's what happens when you cry wolf. In 1990, OSHA fined the resort only $1,000 after 3 performers were injured in 3 separate incidences. That's not a lot of money. In one, a performer fell 30 feet when a restraining cable failed. In another, a performer fell 25 feet when a prop ladder collapsed unexpectedly. A third performer was pinned by a malfunctioning trapdoor like the guy from the Queen Mary.
Oh.
At the time, OSHA cited Disney for failing to provide adequate fall protection, including padding and other equipment. Later, while rehearsing a new safer routine, another performer fell 25 feet onto concrete.
But did he die?
Does that matter?
Actually, yes, in the court of law, it does.
It doesn't. Want to know why?
Why?
Because Amber Heard used the same arguments and lost. Rock and Roll Coaster starring Aerosmith. I went on this ride and I was sorely oversized for it. I am only a mere 6'1.5" on a good day. And I couldn't fit. I couldn't fit on this roller coaster. So
you
check
rode
mark,
this. You rode this
I
roller
did.
coaster.
And I was cramped. Check mark number 1 against the
That was
Disney.
just they were keeping you in there in the seat tightly so that you didn't fall out of it. That's all it was.
Okay, or to crush
Nothing
me
to do with
slowly,
your
or to
size.
crush me slowly.
Frankly, you're kidding yourself here.
Am
Have
I?
you seen some of the people that get on that damn
I was
ride?
gonna say.
Am I
There
kidding
are
myself?
some huge people on that ride.
Because, as I said a second ago, 3 out of 4 were heart issues. Now we are at 5. That makes 3 out of 5. And what is this one? Dun, dun, dun. Another heart issue, this time with a 12-year-old boy from Fort Campbell, Kentucky. He was found unresponsive after the ride came to an end. CPR was administered by his father on the scene while awaiting arrival of paramedics, but he was declared dead on the way to the hospital. The ride was shut down for investigation, but reopened a day later after inspectors determined that it was operating normally. Initially, a medical examiner stated that he may have had a congenital heart defect. The final report confirmed that he died from that.
That's a shame.
So a lot of people with heart defects, or they just love this place so much that it's like the Grinch. The heart grows too much.
Walt Disney, who's been kept alive since his passing underneath the Disney castle,
Kept alive since his passing.
sacrificed himself
He's in cryo.
to the Dark Lord.
He's in cryo, right?
Yeah, under the
Him
castle.
and Joe DiMaggio.
He's playing cards.
With Joe DiMaggio.
Oddly enough, he has a card deck of 66.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's 1/6 missing then?
The name of the card company is 6 cards. That was dumb.
That was a stretch.
That was really.
You know what?
that
Usually
was
you're much
dumb.
better than that. You know what that's a sign of?
I was gonna say
That's a
sexy
sign
6
of
cards,
that,
but that's
that this side of the table is winning this war. against the world.
because you guys sacrifice babies.
You
The
know,
Twilight Zone.
I can feel we're going to have another
terror.
Disney vacation coming on.
I think
I can smell it.
Why do you think we're doing this episode? Do you think this is accidental, or do you think this is all planned? Yeah. The Twilight Zone Tower of Terror on July 12th, 2005, a 16-year-old girl from Kibworth, Leicestershire,
Good.
England, complained of a severe headache and other symptoms after riding the ride. She was taken to a local hospital in critical condition. She underwent surgery to stop intracranial bleeding. On August 6th, she returned home via air ambulance. While she reportedly had ridden the ride several times previously, this is the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, during her visit with no ill effects, her initial collapse was unexpected and unexplained. Later tests show that she had been in pain for a few days before having a massive stroke leading to cardiac arrest. This is a 16-year-old. After examination by both Disney and state inspectors showed no ride malfunction, the ride was reopened the next day. She returned home after spending 6 months in the hospital due to 2 heart attacks and surgery. Again, this is what, the 7th?
I got to tell you though, none of this really matters because they have a governmental exemption. An emergency use exemption for Disney.
Yeah. Not surprising.
He's not telling the truth.
How do you know?
I'm a lawyer. I need to know.
You're a lawyer, so you must know the truth.
That's kind of, the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror is like kind of mild.
Well, they're all Disney's mild, period.
Guys,
I know. Have you never been to Six
go
Flags?
to Six Flags
Yeah.
or Cedar Point or
You're
any of
Those
Proving-
rides actually, they fling you around like you're a rag doll.
They drop you from like
Yeah.
You're proving,
Your brain actually hurts after those rides.
You're proving my point.
Oh
It is a theme
no.
park.
Here's the
It's a
point.
theme
Here's
park.
the
saying
point.
there's voodoo magic
Part
going
of,
on.
100%.
I would bet that if you looked into the legalese of the tickets that you buy to get into the park, that
They
you're signing a
omit-
waiver.
They omit heart issues. I bet you money.
Well, I bet you they omit any of this stuff.
Yeah,
Disney
well,
gets
you ride at
sued
your own
every
risk.
day.
and they
This is
get away with evil.
I think it's very interesting to go into these these things that have happened and understand that safety is a big issue, and to try to follow the breadcrumbs as to why people don't look at this more askance like you do and say, I don't think we better take our kids on this shit if people die, or the thing comes loose from the ship and decapitates people along the Tom Sawyer Island. All that.
Oh, we'll
it's
talk
not
about
even
that.
on there.
We'll talk about that.
Or alligators in the pond.
I didn't look at that one.
Yeah, I mean I remember that.
That was a couple of years ago. The toddler. Well, he was
more than a
actually
couple,
14.
Yeah, but yeah, right along the pond.
a toddler was killed by a
alligator.
alligator in Disney World, but it was at the resort.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Which they're their own country there anyway. They're like Vatican City in Florida up
Might
until a
as
few
well
months
be.
ago.
And you guys don't see the problem with that.
I see a big problem with it.
They're their own country. They are immune from all oversight.
I don't think
The
so.
mouse.
Florida's getting a little.
I think you're
The
just mad.
mouse
You're just
lives. The mouse lives off of the blood of children. That's all I have to say. Epcot, the best part of Disney World, where if you go and spend your entire time there, you will not feel as if you've been gypped. Maelstrom, the ride Maelstrom. Maelstrom.
Oh, okay.
When the ride first opened on July 5th, 1988, the final scene involving an oil rig in the stormy North Sea featured wind, pouring rain, crashing waves, and lightning produced by a Tesla coil. Did they own the rights of that coil from Nikola Tesla? Find out now on the next episode of History Out of the Box. And by the next episode, I mean the former episode, because we talked about Nikola Tesla.
Episode 4.
Allegedly, a reporter attending the grand opening fell out of the boat into the water and drowned, but this has never been proven.
Maelstrom is now, I think, frozen. It's changed now.
Yeah, to hide the evidence. Body Wars. I never went on that one because I was 3
It's
years old.
not there anymore, I don't think.
Doesn't exist, probably because all the evidence against it. On May 16th, 1995, a 4-year-old girl passed out during the ride. It was stopped immediately and paramedics were called on the scene. She was pronounced dead at the hospital. Some of her relatives said that she was known to have a heart condition. Again, heart conditions. But the autopsy was inconclusive as to whether the ride, which was rougher than Star Tours, its counterpart based on the same technology, aggravated it.
I'm waiting for a big, dramatic.
Oh, there is one.
There's
one.
There's
because
some
you're
big
bringing
ones.
up all these heart condition things.
Well, the thing is, you got so many people attending these parks. Odds are there's going to be people with heart conditions, and odds
The
are
real question is how many more happen here than kind of in the general public at the local park on a weekend.
4-year-olds.
okay.
Not much.
So how many
Not much.
4-year-olds have visited, and then narrow that down to how many 4-year-olds with heart conditions have visited?
My
and then-
point being,
So
I
one.
think
My
the
point
wolf is
being-
entirely being run by emotion right
I'm
now.
not.
Yeah.
I'm being run by data. My point being that it is quite odd that more than half of these incidences, by the way, only from Disney World and Disneyland, because I looked at Tokyo, I looked at Shanghai, looked at Paris. Well, Shanghai's not going to tell us anything. Looked at Paris, nothing. Like maybe 4 or 5 things. Since
Because all they do in Paris is sit around and eat baguettes and shit. They don't even go on rides there.
Yes, I just eat a baguette.
Let me sit and have some
Me just stuffing my
cafe
face with croissants.
some croissants.
Hot chocolate.
Bring the fromage.
Oh, merci.
We can make that joke because America historically does not get along with France.
And France hates Americans, so whatever.
Yeah.
Plus, the funny thing is our last name is both
French and
French
Irish.
and Irish.
Yes.
And there was a chateau
Yes.
in Brittany, France, named after us.
Oh, you're
That's
not going
right.
to continue with the
I still
Irish
think we should
parable?
go.
She wants to go there.
I do too.
You know, the euro is exactly
$1.
equal to the US dollar as of today.
The world has finally found balance.
It has.
Yeah. Speaking of balance, Mission Space. On
Ooh.
June 13th, 2005, a 4-year-old boy died after riding that ride.
I understand. I mean, that's horrible, but also that ride is
Was
like
terrible and poorly
I don't
planned.
get that. None of this shit bothers me.
Maybe it's
Oh,
because you've sold your soul to
good for
Disney.
you. Let's hear about this poor 4-year-old boy.
An autopsy released on November 15th by the Orange County Medical Examiner's Office states he died as a result of pre-existing, previously undiagnosed heart condition called idiopathic myocardial hypertrophy. On June 12th, 2006, a lawsuit was filed against Disney by his parents, claiming that they never should have allowed a 4-year-old child on the ride and didn't offer an adequate medical response after he collapsed. On January 11th, 2007, the lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice, with both sides having to only pay their own attorney fees. There was no other information. Wonder why.
I wonder, so I don't know this for sure, but I'm wondering because on that ride, they have 2 separate options, at least now.
Now they do.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Is it because of this? Because now you can go one way and you can have the real ride, and then the other way is the easy ride.
The thing I guarantee you is that the state arbiters of the safety regulators in the state, even though they, especially in Florida, they had special designation on this, they still had some oversight, whether it's OSHA or something else. And so these things had to be approved before they were put into functionality.
Not if you're your own country.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't care if they are or they're not. If they're bringing in, if they're their own country and they're bringing in citizens from the United States, is which what you're implying, then the safety regulations have to be up to certain code. They can't just say, "Oh, open it up to anybody."
Yeah, but that code could be looked at as lesser than, because there's not one other institution like Disney that has that much
This isn't
power.
a bunch of carnies, okay?
Yeah, you're right. It's a bunch of corporate suits.
Right, that
Evil.
whose whole job is to keep people coming through their doors.
Yeah.
When shit like this happens, yes, they try to hide shit. They try to make it go away. They try
Or
to
manipulate
whatever.
local government
Whatever the case
municipalities.
may be. But my point is that they're not going to allow 4-year-olds on a ride unless they've qualified this over, a period of time being safe enough to allow that to happen. Kind of like it is for medical industry.
I don't agree.
What do you mean you don't agree?
I don't agree. I think that
How can you not agree?
I think that
He's
Disney...
approaching this with prejudice.
I am. I'm playing the prejudice card. I think that Disney gets away with a lot of shit. And I think that they have so much money and have so much power that they can manipulate, as has been shown and we discussed in episode 22, of the darker side of Disney magic, that they can manipulate local government, municipalities,
that's true.
and get whatever they want.
I will not argue that point.
So if that is the case, then they can say, well, here's a little bit of money. We're not going to check this as hard as the other rides because we don't want to have to pay you guys more than we need to.
That's bullshit.
Okay.
Total bullshit.
Okay.
They want these things to be as safe as humanly possible. They don't want anybody to die on these damn things.
Yeah.
No matter
They
what.
don't want people to sue.
They
You know
let
the
alone die.
ones that try to cut the corners are the ones that go from town to town with their with their weird rides that they put up that they get
They put
people to
up
buy
a
tickets
tent,
for,
yeah.
and that pieces fly off of every time.
Yeah.
That's the ones that try to get away with stuff.
Or-
Now, so what ends up happening is these big corporations like this try to create an environment of responsiveness to the public and safety and all these other things to get people to come back to subscribe to this whole issue and become part of their Disney world. And it works. And they get to a certain point and then they have to bury things. So what you're talking about is the burying part, which I agree with.
So if I'm a mobster and I bribe local police officers and politicians to be able to do some stuff, and I follow some rules, but then I'm like burying people in the ocean because they sleep with the fishes, it's okay. Because that's what I hear. That's what I'm getting from you. That's what I'm getting from you. That's the vibe. That's the music. The music to my ears right now. That's what I'm hearing.
Okay,
From
Alex.
my
Okay,
co-host.
Alex.
My own co-host has betrayed me. Well, as you discussed a second ago, the changes to the rules, they did happen. But I have to talk about one more thing before I talk about that. On April 12th, 2006, this is still on Mission Space, by the way, a 49-year-old woman from Schmitten, Germany, fell ill after riding the ride and died at the nearby Celebration Hospital. It was later found out that she died from a bleeding brain caused by high blood pressure, not due to the ride, quote unquote. From June 2005 to June 2006, paramedics treated 194 riders. The most common complaints were dizziness, nausea, and vomiting. Of those 194 guests, 25 people passed out, 26 suffered difficulty breathing, and 16 reported chest pains or irregular heartbeats. The period was compared to the rough test and adjust period of Space Mountain. Disney responded by deactivating the centrifuge on one of the simulators and offering it at a less intense experience known as Green Team. The original experience for the hardier thrill seekers was retained as Orange Team. Which,
So there's
your
the
point,
answer to your whole thing
but
right
it
there,
took
Wolf.
them a year.
No,
and they should
no.
have thought about this.
What do you
in
mean
advance.
they should have thought about this?
They should have tested
If
this.
they've
and
never
said,
done something before, and they create this thing, and they test it as best as they can, and they put it out to the public.
Crash
and stuff
test
starts to
dummies.
happening.
Crash test.
Oh
dummies.
my God!
Yeah, because they can take an interview afterwards and give you exactly how their head's feeling. You're coming at this from a bias. You are.
And I have admitted that as such for entertainment purposes. The music is only playing because that's what happens when you start to get preachy, Amber Heard's lawyer. So, to Soren. We're going to Soren. On January
Soren.
15th, 2007, a 67-year-old
This is
man.
another allusion to Lord of the Rings.
Or an allusion to the demons that fly in the underworld.
It was Sauron.
A 67-year-old man, Sauron, from New York, suffered from slurred speech and right side weakness after riding the ride Soren. He died 2 days later. The medical examiner ruled that he had a stroke but did not perform an autopsy.
Soren is the
Is
most
the most mild-
He didn't
ride on
perform an
It's
autopsy.
actually like
Soren is
if I'm
like
gonna
one-
die, I want to die on Soren. Yeah,
He
like,
didn't.
So I'm like,
what a
whoa.
peaceful death.
I
Let
get up
the
there.
Poor
record
guy. I'm
state.
sorry for this
And
man
it's
from New
horrible.
York.
But
But
this is killing me. This is killing me, Smalls.
Let the record state that the Bull, the co-host of the famous Wolf and Bull podcast, and Beowulf, the former lawyer of Amber Heard, they both have determined that they would like to pass away on Soren, which is located in Disney World. Dare I
Disneyland.
say, maybe that is evidence of their collusion.
okay.
They didn't perform an autopsy. Wonder why. Suspicious.
I don't know.
It's just a little suspicious. Magic Kingdom. We're finally in the Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
Cosmic Rays Starlight Cafe in March 2010.
In the cafe?
4-year-old. Yes, a 4-year-old from San Diego, California, our old place of living, suffered severe burns to his face after being scalded by a cup of hot nacho cheese. The accident occurred when he sat
That's
down
an
to
evil
dinner.
mouse right there.
Yes, it is. In an unstable chair and grabbed the tray of food to prevent himself from falling, as any child would do, resulting in the cheese flying into his face. His parents sued Disney, and their attorney claimed that the cheese should not have been scalding hot, and that Disney made no effort to regulate and monitor the temperature of the cheese, which was being served to young children. A Disney representative commented on the incident, and there's no update after this. It's unfortunate when a child is injured. We just received notice of the lawsuit and are currently reviewing it.
Actually, just a fight between him and his sibling, and they were fighting over the cheese, and one said, "That's my cheese," and the other said, "That's nacho cheese."
Wow. Good one. Well, I'm sorry
can't
to the
help
little
myself.
boy that suffered.
It's horrible. Nobody wants to get a face.
I'm
full of cheese.
concerned.
I wonder. Well,
about-
I mean, severe burns to the face. It's scalded by nacho cheese.
I'm concerned.
That's kind of shocking.
About both of your flippancy to the evil that is
I
occurring.
just said
at this
I was
park.
concerned. I hope they got the bag.
I ignored it because you've been defending them. We are on incident like 1200.
A pretzel and nachos cheese sounds wonderful right
Okay,
about now.
yeah, go ahead and
Salty
deflect.
goodness.
Main Street, USA, on August 11th, 1977, a 4-year-old boy from Dalton, Illinois, drowned in the moat surrounding Cinderella Castle. His family sued Disney for $4 million and won. However, the jury found the plaintiffs 50% liable for allowing him to climb over a fence while playing and reduced the award to $1.5 million. What if he
Okay.
fell? How do you climb over a fence and the parents were like, okay, keep climbing, Billy? What if he climbed over immediately and then just fell?
That's like the same thing.
That sounds like
happens
Disney's
at
trying
zoos.
to. That sounds like Disney is exerting its power to pay less money.
They
is what it
allowed
sounds
him
like.
to. I mean,
That's what it
again,
sounds
that's
like.
super sad. But why was
It's very
he
sad,
on the
but what
other
do you
side
keep
of the
track of?
fence?
4-year-olds are notoriously fast.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, this was also in '77. I
Yeah.
remember back in the 2000s, or maybe it was in the 90s. I can't remember exactly when it was, but I was at Disneyland in California, and they were redoing Splash Mountain at the time, and I wanted to see what they were doing, and so I climbed up on a trash can. I was a little kid. I climbed up on a trash can, and a cast member came flying out of nowhere, out of thin air, and was like, "Get down!" And I was such a good kid, never did anything wrong, and it traumatized me so much that I remember it to this day when a cast member at Disneyland yelled at me for climbing on a trash can to look at the Splash Mountain construction work.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Are you done making this about you? This
She
is
was
about
a-
the victims.
She was the thrill seeker.
All I'm saying is today, I know there's eyes on you at all times at Disneyland. So
Because now they're trying to steal your data. Pirates of the Caribbean. A 12-year-old boy lost part of his fingertips.
Caribbean.
A 12-year-old boy lost part of his fingertips when he dangled his hand over the end of the boat.
That's horrible. Okay.
Oh, it sounds like he's dying.
This 12-year-old boy.
Yeah, in those days, the load area was split into 2 canals because of poor planning. As with It's a Small World, as you understand, because you went on that ride with your mommy. The incident occurred at the point where the canals merged, and the boy's fingers was pinched by the walls. Although Disney won the lawsuit, how did they win that one? They realized the potential for more injuries and quietly reconfigured the local area so that the boats load single file, and when children disappear from that ride, no one will notice.
Well, it's probably because every 5 seconds when you're on that ride, they tell you, keep your hands and arms inside the boat at all times. Do not keep your hands in every language. That's probably why. They say it like 1,000 times.
That's actually subliminal when you go through Small World, which they force everybody to go through now, by the way. You know that. You can't go into the rest of Disneyland without going into Small World.
Entrance.
So in the background of that music, they're telling you subliminally. It's like listening to an ad on the TV where it reads all this fast stuff at the end about the lawyers. Same thing.
We will brainwash all your kids. We'll steal them away and they won't know who did. We will brainwash all of your kids. A 77-year-old woman of Minnesota lost consciousness and died after riding the ride in February. This is Pirates of the Caribbean. In 2005, a medical examiner's report said she was in poor health from diabetes, and she previously had several mini strokes. The report concluded that her death was not expected. Who would expect?
Not unexpected.
Expected.
It says
it was not
unexpected.
I didn't expect her death today, but
same difference.
Yeah, same difference.
They knew that she was going to die at Disney because Disney takes the souls of those who visit. Space Mountain.
What I want to know is, because it's a thing, apparently, from the people that I've talked to, my peeps, that people like to spread their ashes.
Yes.
At Disney.
Mm-hmm. They do.
Did you know that?
It's not recommended because it literally gets vacuumed up and put in the trash.
And
so if you want your dear aunt or whoever who wanted to be spread their ashes at Disneyland, tell them they're just going to be in a dumpster instead.
You could put them on the what's the river ride? Not Splash Mountain, but the
Tom
Jungle
Sawyer.
Cruise.
They do not like that.
Well, we wonder why.
Well, every time
things like the unnamed disease that happened for the last 2 years and is likely happening during every election cycle from this point forward. We wonder why that occurs, because people are spreading their ashes everywhere, especially at Disney. Space Mountain.
I didn't know ashes had spike proteins.
Well, they do. On December 12th, 2006, a 73-year-old man lost consciousness while riding the ride. After being taken to a nearby hospital, he died 3 days later. The medical examiners reported, and they stated that he died of natural causes due to a surprise, heart condition. In the ride's early days, injuries were commonplace, mainly because it was not planned correctly and it could not be seen from the outside, and the signage said nothing about it being a roller coaster. In fact, this wasn't allowed at all. It wasn't allowed. Interesting. One woman stated she thought it was a slow-moving ride with projections of the pretty pictures of space. Others thought it was along the lines of Peter Pan's flight. Eventually, a low-key safety spiel was recorded by former Mercury astronaut Gordon Cooper, and signage was allowed to call the attraction to a roller coaster. Furthermore, 2 of the rocket sleds were removed and placed out in front in a steep dive with astronaut dummies inside to reinforce that it was a roller coaster.
Can you imagine getting in line on that damn thing the first time and thinking it's like
it's a beautiful picture
a carousel or something?
It's just space pictures.
It's going to be like getting in little Moby Dick thing.
You're in that first part where you're going up in the tunnel and it's just like the hyperspace. You're like, wait a second.
Uh-oh.
We're going up a lot.
They weren't allowed to advertise. By who? Who runs?
They weren't allowed to.
Who runs the world?
Girls.
Mickey Mouse.
No.
Which year? What year?
What year?
That's a famous song, right?
I don't know what year.
Do you know what year it was?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I figured someone would. I could have made it up.
Sometime in the 2000s. Typhoon Lagoon. In August 2005, a 12-year-old girl of Newport News, Virginia, which is an actual place, by the way, fell ill while in the wave pool. Lifeguards talked with her after her noticing her sitting on the side of the pool, and she said she felt fine. She passed out shortly thereafter. CPR was performed on her, and she was transported to a local hospital where she was pronounced dead. The autopsy showed that she died to a arrhythmia caused by an early-stage viral heart infection.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every single incident that we have brought up has to do with the hearts of the victims.
Every single incident we brought up
Also
has
happened
had
at Disney.
has had a cause of death.
Mm,
There's news for you. Death has a cause of death.
it's true.
That's not what I want our
And the
listeners.
cause of death apparently
It's not
is
what I
Disney.
want our listeners to take away from this. I want our
You
listeners
want them to believe
think
it's all-
one-sided so we can all storm the gates of Disney, and we
What
can...
you're not telling them is the truth here.
That's not true.
You're
I am
not telling them
them
the truth.
I'm telling
You
them
need to
all
tell
the
them the
facts.
truth.
I'm telling them all
You
the
can
facts.
handle the truth.
Telling them all the
you can.
facts.
The
Do you know what word starts with F and has 3 letters
fun.
after the F? So 4 letters.
Fun.
Fact.
Fun.
Fact. And I am
Fact.
fact. I am fact.
I was thinking of something else completely.
And I think that we should take a break for our listeners to process the satanic activity that happens at the Mickey Mouse Club. Welcome back to the Wolf and Bull podcast. I'm the Wolf, as everyone knows, and my cohort, who is slowly losing points in the polls
Bazinga.
because of his support of this evil organization, the Bull. We are talking about the evil, the evil
All I can
deaths
say is read the prompter again.
surrounding Disney. And Beowulf
Yes.
is our local Irish princess lawyer
Mm-hmm.
who can't seem to get over the fact that Amber Heard lost against Johnny Depp.
I don't care about
And
Amber Heard
well,
or Johnny Depp.
you defended her as
When?
her lawyer. Yeah,
Oh.
you don't even remember. So maybe you should go back to the beginning.
I was just going to get up and do a little Irish
You
dance
should
there.
maybe. Now we're talking about Disneyland, the second most evil place in the world.
Mm.
The first one being Disney World, and zero, like baseline 0, like caseload number 0, like where it all began was in hell. So Disneyland,
I love
number 2.
Disneyland.
Well,
Let me
it's
just
because you've been manipulated by.
Say this right now. I quite enjoy it.
You've been manipulated by the Communist Party. Hyperion Theater. I don't even know what that is.
I think you're talking about Disneyland's California
Oh
Adventure
yes, the
first.
California Adventure. Thank you so much,
is
Amber
the
Heard's
second
lawyer.
theme
Thank
park
you
there.
so much for your
You're
help.
welcome.
In April 2003, a 36-year-old stage technician fell 60 feet from a catwalk in Hyperion Theater, ouch, prompting an investigation by the California Occupational Safety and Health Administration, Cal OSHA. He did not regain consciousness following the incident and died on May 18th. In October, Cal OSHA fined Disneyland Resort $18,000 for the death of this man and for safety violations related to his death.
What safety violation? They had a catwalk up there. The guy fell off the catwalk.
I can only do so much research because I only have so much time to prep.
I thought you called OSHA and asked them to
I
come
did.
on the show to talk about
They
it.
have barred me from calling them because I do a really good Alex
It's
Jones
because
impression.
they like Disney.
Yeah, well, they are a part of the cabal that supports the Mickey Mouse Club. California Screamin' on July 29th, 2005.
Which is now the Incredible Coaster.
Is it really? They changed it?
It's Incredibles themed.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's the Incredible Coaster now. I should have saw that coming. My point's been destroyed by such good lawyering. 25 guests were injured when one train cat crashed into another, with 15 guests being taken to a local hospital for treatment of minor injuries.
Hey,
Oh,
here's
rear end.
how good that ride is. My family got stuck on the top of that
That's
freaking
right.
ride.
I did. I got
that
stuck
one over
on it.
there.
So,
Yeah.
And
you're
her
saying,
mom and her brother, her
Mm-hmm.
autistic brother, got stuck at the top of that. Christy wasn't there, was she?
No.
Are you saying that?
And they got him down
Yes, we
Are
had to
you
walk
agreeing
down.
very safely.
Are you agreeing with me?
We were at the very tippy top.
They saved you guys in a safe manner from an unsafe situation.
It was
Which is
actually
still
very.
unsafe.
I felt very safe when we had.
You
to
felt very
leave.
safe. Up top, did you feel safe?
I have actually. No, you know what? This happened to me twice. Once when I was very young, and then once again when I was in high school.
Well,
and it was not Incredicoaster at either times. It was still California Screamin'.
an investigation showed that a faulty brake valve installed a few days earlier by Disney instead of by the ride manufacturer. I wonder why they did that. Was the cause. Another malpractice incident. Disneyland. Apparently more things happen at Disneyland than they do Disney California Adventure. There's more satanic activity there. America Sings. On July 8th, 1974, cast member 18 of Santa Ana, California, was crushed to death between a revolving wall and a stationary platform inside the attraction during its opening week. She was in the wrong place during a ride intermission. It was unclear whether this was due to inadequate training, which would be whose fault, or a misstep. Guests reported hearing a blood-curdling scream, but were unsure if it was part of the soundtrack, the attraction having just opened. The attraction was subsequently refitted with breakaway walls.
Mm-hmm. So that area now, America Sings, the same attraction is at Florida's Disney World, but now, well, it was for a long time Innovations, and I think now it's like Marvel's, like a Marvel area.
The Innovations thing was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, that was.
All the futuristic
They had
stuff
all
in
that
there.
stuff. Now you can just go
It
stand
smelled like
and
baby
take.
diapers.
Well, now
and
you
puke.
can just stand next to a poor man's Tony Stark and take a picture with him. It's much better now. That's all Disney's about.
Making things worse. A Big Thunder Mountain Railroad on September 5th, 2003, a 22-year-old man of nearby Gardena, California, died after suffering injuries in a derailment of the ride. The cause of the accident was determined to be improper maintenance and training of Disney cast members. Investigation reports and discovery by the man's attorney confirmed his fatal injuries occurred when the first passenger car collided with the underside of the locomotive. The derailment was in part the result of a mechanical failure, which occurred as a result of, among other things, omissions during a maintenance procedure of at least two required actions. The left side up-stop guide wheel on the floating axle of the locomotive was not tightened in accordance with specifications, and a safety wire was not installed and or completed the necessary maintenance required by said tagging system, all with knowledge of Disney management and personnel. Following the accident, the floating axle was removed from all locomotives.
Yeah, I've heard that one a lot. It's really sad, but
Is it?
I know there's like when you go on the ride and people in the know will be like, this is where it happened. Yeah, it's horrible. Poor guy.
I'm not allowed to have a theme park in my backyard. I want a theme park in my
You're not
backyard,
allowed
but I'm
to
not
have a
allowed
frickin-
to have
You're not
one.
allowed to have
Do you
a
want to know
frickin'
why?
diving board in
Do you
your
want to know
backyard
why?
anymore.
Because of safety procedures that if I was a billion-dollar company, would not have to listen to. But I'm not a billion-dollar company, so I can't. Indiana Jones Adventure. On June 25th, 2000, a 23-year-old woman of Barcelona, Spain, exited the ride complaining of a severe headache. She was hospitalized later that day where it was discovered that she had brain hemorrhaging. She died on September 1st of a brain aneurysm. Her family's subsequent wrongful death lawsuit against Disney stated that she died due to violent shaking and stresses imposed by the ride. In an interlocutory appeal, an appeal of a legal issue within the case prior to a decision on the case merits, the California Supreme Court held that amusement parks are considered common carriers similar to commercially operated planes, trains, elevators, and ski lifts. This ruling imposes a heightened duty of care on amusement parks and requires them to provide the same degree of care and safety as other common carriers. Disney settled the lawsuit for an undisclosed sum after the interlocutory appeal, but before a decision was rendered on the case's merits. Her medical costs were estimated at more than $1.3 million.
That's interesting that they ruled that they were a common carrier.
You would know.
Like a ski lift.
Yes, you would. You would know better than all of us here. How does that make you feel? Are you changing your tune here? Are you?
No, because I think you're way off base on
I don't
this.
think so.
I think you're
but don't pay
off
attention.
Don't
pay attention to me.
Wolf
Don't
is
pay attention
like
to me.
circling the chicken coop.
Pay
and there's
attention
no chickens
to
in
Disney. You're right, because they've all been murdered by Disney. Pay attention to the Disney argument I'm making, because if it was anyone other, If it was anyone other than them, I don't think they'd be in existence anymore. Do you want to know why? Because I've watched documentaries about other theme parks. One of them, which was famous in New Jersey, that got shut down real
Action
fast.
Park.
Real fast.
It didn't get shut down real fast.
It did, actually. Yeah, it did. It doesn't exist anymore.
Well, it doesn't exist anymore, but it wasn't real fast. People
Yeah,
were
and they're
dying all over the
compared-
place. on that-
compared
on the road.
There are big
to-
theme parks all over the country. still.
Compared to Disney, it got shut down real fast.
Yeah, but those people
See,
were
I think-
dying from like flying off of bobsleds and stuff, not from
As
heart
opposed to
conditions that they
cardiomyopathy,
previously
as
had.
opposed
I
to
think the bigger
cardiomyopathy
thing with
caused by a ride?
Disney- I think the biggest thing with Disney is not what the stuff you're going into right here, though. It's unfortunate for sure. It's the communications. It's the media. That's the real problem.
Two things can be true at the same time. Disney can be the problem, and so can the media.
No, they as the media is the problem. That's what I'm saying.
The two things can be. There's multiple facets. I think
If you want to control a narrative about killing people off at your park, then own a media company.
You hide it, but then again, you also
No, you don't
do
hide
certain
it.
Maintenance checks.
You talk about it and you spin it.
Yeah, like it was all. It all happened prior to the ride, so it's not our fault.
That's right.
Matterhorn bobsleds. On May 15th, 1964, a 15-year-old boy of Long Beach, California, viewer discretion, by the way, was injured after he stood up in a car and fell out. It is reported that his restraint was undone by his ride companion. He died 3 days later as a result of these injuries. He was the first fatality in park history and one of the only two that had occurred in Walt's lifetime. On January 3rd, 1984, a 48-year-old woman of Fremont, California, this is probably the viewer discretion, was thrown from a car and struck by the next oncoming one. An investigation showed that her seatbelt was found unbuckled after the accident. It is still unclear whether she deliberately unfastened it.
What, an Autotopia?
No, on Matterhorn.
Okay.
Or if it malfunctioned. Following the accident, the location where she was found became informally known amongst cast members as, I guess I'll say it, Dolly's Dip. Ones that were sent to investigate later stated all they found were two legs sticking out from under the car that struck her, likening it to the Wicked Witch of the East.
That's
That's not nice at all. Damn
Yuck.
cast members.
I wonder why companies' workers would say stuff like that. The monorail. On June 17th, 1966, a 19-year-old man of Northridge, California, was struck and killed by the monorail, which then literally tore his body apart and dragged pieces of it 40 feet down the track. This occurred on grad night while he was trying to sneak into the park by climbing onto the track. The security guard who called him later stated that he had to hose the kid off the underside. He was the second and final fatality to occur in Walt's lifetime. So all the fatalities happened
Yikes.
after Walt was alive. Dare I say, maybe he was the only good part of Disney.
It's really sad.
People Mover. On August 21st, 1967, a 17-year-old boy of Hawthorne, California, was killed while jumping between two moving trains as the ride was passing through a tunnel. He stumbled and fell onto the track where an oncoming train crushed him beneath its wheels and dragged his body a few hundred feet before it was stopped by the ride operator. A cast member who went to investigate later said that his head had been split in two. The ride had only been open for 1 month at the time.
The
Yikes.
People Mover?
Yeah.
They still have that at Disney World, and it is like you literally move like a mile per hour.
Yeah, it's just like a escalator. You know.
On June 7th, 1980, an 18-year-old man from San Diego, California, was crushed and killed by the ride, People Mover, while jumping between moving trains. The accident occurred as the ride entered the superspeed tunnel. Following the accident, cast members, particularly Jungle Cruise skippers, informally referred to the ride as the People Remover.
That's just because the Jungle Cruise skippers, their whole thing was making jokes, and they have this whole
That's kind of.
shtick. I'm not saying it's a good thing.
Some bad taste.
Yeah,
there.
it's terrible taste. Oh, don't
Welcome
sit
to
there
the People
and look at me
Remover.
like that. I'm not saying it's in good taste. I never said it was in good taste. It is very sad.
Rivers of America. On June 22nd, 1973, an 18-year-old man from Brooklyn, New York, drowned while attempting to swim across the attraction. He and his 10-year-old brother stayed on Tom Sawyer Island past closing time by hiding in an area that is off limits to guests. When they wanted to leave, they decided to swim across the river because the rafts to and from the island had long since been shut down for the night, and they did not want to draw attention. He carried his brother, who did not know how to swim, on his back, but he drowned halfway through. His body was found the next morning. As for his brother, he was able to stay afloat by dog paddling until the ride operator of a passing boat rescued him.
Wow.
That's terrible.
That is very sad.
These are all terrible.
On June 4th, 1983, an 18-year-old man of Albuquerque, New Mexico, drowned in the attraction while trying to pilot a rubber emergency boat from Tom Sawyer Island that he and a friend had stolen from a restricted area. On December 24th, 1998, a heavy metal cleat, which you referred to earlier, fastened to the hull of the sailing ship Columbia, tore loose, striking one cast member and 2 park guests. One of the guests, 33, of Duval, Washington, died of a head injury. The normal non-elastic hemp rope designed to break easily, used to tie the boat off, was improperly replaced for financial reasons. A common theme of the Pressler-Harris era, I have to imagine those are the people overseeing the park at that time, by an elastic nylon rope which stretched and tore the cleat from the ship's wooden hull. Disney received much criticism for this incident due to its alleged policy of restricting outside medical personnel in the park to avoid frightening visitors, scrutiny dating back to a stabbing in 1981, as well for the fact that the cast member in charge of the ship at the time was not trained on the attraction. Due to this incident and the way it was handled, Disney reinstated lead foremen to many rides, and the Anaheim police began placing officers in the park to speed response. This accident resulted in the first guest death in Disneyland's history that was not attributable to any negligence on part of the guests. California's Division of Occupational Safety and Health investigated the incident and found fault with the training of the park employee who placed the docking line on the cleat, even though the cleat was not intended to help break the ship, but only hold it in place once it had already been docked. Ride procedures call for the ship's captain to reverse the ship if it overshoots the dock and then reapproach the dock at the correct speed. Cal OSHA fined Disney $1,200 for the error. $12,000. Minor difference. While the theme park settled the lawsuit with the victim survivor for $25 million, according to Los Angeles Times estimate.
That is awful. I've heard that one though before. That pirate ship is still there, I believe.
Yes,
right?
it is.
Yeah, and you can still ride on it.
Yes, you can.
That's one thing at Disneyland I've never done.
Really?
I don't think so.
No.
I'm sure
Yeah, we did.
The
Yes,
river, the
we did the
riverboat.
riverboat. Yeah, you're right.
Riverboat, yes, but not the pirate ship.
Space Mountain. On August 14th, 1979, a 31-year-old woman became ill after riding the ride. At the station, she was unable to get out of the vehicle. Cast members told her to stay seated while it was removed from the track. However, other ride attendants did not understand that it was to be removed and sent her through the ride a second time. She arrived back at the station semi-unconscious. She was subsequently taken to Palm Harbor Hospital, where she died 7 days later after being in a coma. The coroner's report attributed her death to natural causes due to a heart tumor that became dislodged and entered her brain. A subsequent lawsuit against the park was dismissed. Disneyland hotels. And we have the parking structure after, and then we're basically through. On September 3rd, 1994, a 74-year-old man jumped to his death from the 9th floor balcony at the hotel. This was the first suicide known to be committed at the Disneyland Resort. On July 6, 1996, a 23-year-old man either jumped or fell to his death from the 14th floor of the hotel. He was not a guest and had climbed over several balconies. On May 2nd, 2008, a businessman jumped to his death from the 14th floor balcony at the hotel. He was later identified as a dentist from Santa Cruz, California. And then the parking structure. On October 17, 2010, a 61-year-old man from Hickman, California, jumped to his death from the top floor of the parking structure. He left behind a note citing personal issues for his suicide. And on April 2nd, 2012, a 23-year-old man was found near the northwest corner of the parking structure and was pronounced dead at the scene. At the time, it was investigated as a suicide, but there were no witnesses that saw him jump. I see a recurring pattern
Of
in relation
people
to Disney.
coming to the park with heart conditions.
Of something happening, be it a death, an injury, or otherwise, because I did not include any legalese or injuries that did not result in death. There were a lot of them, where something happens and the park, either outside of the $25 million lawsuit, pays a small nominal fee and gets away with something, or doesn't pay anything at all. That is my problem, because Disney has 6 letters in its name. And you know what also is related to the number 6? Satan. And you know what's 1 letter less? Satan. So I think that Disney, as they have grown to control most of the world with all of their entertainment, political influence, and power, is manipulating the systems that they ride off of. I think that they abuse the power that they have. And I rest my case. with all this evidence that I've presented, that yes, a lot of is circumstantial, some of is anecdotal, but most of it is true. I rest my case.
Can accidents not happen?
Accidents can happen, but normally there are consequences with the accidents.
The consequences are 3 yahoos are doing a podcast about it in 2022.
Again, as our listeners and our viewers understand, I am the host of the Wolf and Bull podcast. My co-host, the Bull, is likely a Disney shill, has probably been compromised by the CCP, and my perpetual guest has also devoted her affiliation to the enemy. There's not much that can be done that will change any of this. And after this very morbid episode, I might have to reevaluate whether I ever bring up Disney again.
No, I think
because I might disappear
Disney again, but from
once a year,
a different viewpoint. Because Disney is a fantastic place to go. Mm-hmm. Way too expensive.
Yes. And
you know me with lines. I would rather not go than go. That was close.
Whoa, beer.
Disney
must be manipulating you.
I was going to. Oh, damn it! You beat me to it again.
I did. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't think the parks are the problem. I think all these places have
victim blaming.
No, not at all. That's like saying that somebody that dies of diabetes, it's the fault of the company that gave them too large of a Slurpee.
If the company is investigating their death,
they've got a product.
If the company's investigating their death and they come to the conclusion that it was diabetes, is it not speculative to maybe think that the company manipulate?
I think we need to quit blaming
some things.
Everybody. I think that if the company has set up a problem and they don't have signage on Space Mountain, somebody croaks on Space Mountain intentionally. I intentionally do not want to put
They weren't
up
allowed to
signs,
say that it was a. They weren't allowed to say.
I don't understand that at all.
Well,
not
was
allowed.
A different time.
We are not allowed to say that this is actually a roller coaster.
Because
that may be because they were getting the ride through under a different criteria because they weren't calling it a roller coaster.
To try and
Who the hell knows?
Rules.
Because businesses do these things to circumvent issues.
Rules.
But you got to remember the premise of why Disney's parks were in there in the first place.
Sometimes rules are stupid and
if you cheat and don't get caught,
and
you're not
if
cheating.
They break the rules, I would say OSHA's probably be in their pocket. $10,000 fines, $1,000 fines at a time are ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But here's the comparative. OSHA's looking at all these like crappy little parks here and there. They're doing everything wrong, and they're going, that needs to be addressed. That needs to be addressed. One handrail at Disney, just fine them $1,000. They're good at everything.
Yeah, they go to one of these hole-in-the-wall places, and they have
that's exactly what
50
they
violations.
Because they have, Disney has them in their pocket. So what ends up happening is these things occur, someone dies, unless it occur at another park, that other park would be shut down and out of business. I promise you.
Because they can't afford the fines.
Can't afford the lawyers either.
Disney can afford $12,000 fines? Of course they can.
That's because Disney's...
It's a $12,000 fine.
Disney's a better park than some of these places that you can find in the middle. You're telling me that you like Cornhole Park in the middle of Arkansas better than Disney. That's your better park? Where you can get a donut cheeseburger and you can ride a merry-go-round that's literally falling apart as you're on it.
Tell me more, Leprechaun.
That's your
Tell
preference?
me more. Tell me more, Amber Heard's lawyer. I happen to enjoy Disney just as much as the next guy. But what I don't enjoy is when a company hides behind the rules that they skirt and they manipulate. That's what I don't enjoy. You're sitting over there on your pedestal, Amber Heard's lawyer, looking at me and saying this stuff doesn't matter. Well, I tell you right now, it does matter. You're completely wrong. And you'll know once you face the pearly gates, the afterlife, and the little guy up there says, or the big guy up there, forgive me, says, you don't get to stay up here because your allegiance was to the mouse. Whose name, by the way, Mickey? How many letters in there? Yeah, how many letters are in mouse? Disney has 6. Mickey has 6. Mouse has 5. And Satan has 5. Not sure where you see the discrepancy here, but I found it.
You know what? I think you've been radicalized and we might need to put you down.
I think Disney does that with
Someone
any
get the
dissenters.
tranquilizer. We need to put him down.
Got up. Well, we've had someone being radicalized, so it's time to put them down. What do you say, Goofy?
Oh, yuck. I think it sounds like a total idea.
We need
That was a terrible
we need
goof.
to call in the heavy hitters at Disney
I
to take
think,
care of this radical.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
you guys are a part of
The next
of-
time you go
of the
on
issue.
Small
And-
World, you're gonna see him singing, nailed to
Well,
the
I seem to
the
recall.
beams.
I seem to recall an Instagram reel
Oh, that's
of
true.
Wolf and Bull.
and
Enjoying your
at-
time at
no,
Epcot.
no, drinking to levels that are unheard of because I couldn't handle the evil surrounding me. And when we find out on the next episode of The Wolf and Bull whether or not the wolf is correct and the bull, an evil demonic entity standing on a hill, is actually a paid shill, then maybe, just maybe, the truth will come to light. But until then, look out for the next episode of The Wolf and Bull. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. This was a good time.